Come back, Doug, when you grow up, girl. You're still living in a paper dollar world.
Doug! Hey!
Fucking hell! Ah!
He's busy getting his grub on.
Let's just start. Let's
He
just
doesn't have his
start.
headphones on.
Fucking knob!
All right. I'm going to get in.
There he is.
No.
Oh, I saw him for a second.
He's making dinner.
Oh, yeah, I see his back.
Hold on.
He's playing with his sausage. Doug, put down your sausage, mate.
Don't play with your banger on the
Bangers and gash.
God.
Okay, let's start this. Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in so sunny California. Hey everyone, this is Liza. What's up, Wiggy Wiggy? I'm bringing back some of the old favorites.
Oh, you
The old
bring
chestnuts.
back the old schooler.
Yes, I know,
Yes.
right?
Right.
Joining us in the virtual garage tonight, looking beautiful with her gray streak through that luscious black hair. It's Miss Emma.
And this is Miss Emma. Meow. See?
I'm sorry, I didn't give you enough time to come up with something clever. That's my bad. Joining us from his house in the land of big trees, it's Stumpy John.
What's up, everybody? Being stumpy is not a crime.
We had a listener email us said that his nickname is Stumpy too.
Well, there you go. Stumpies unite. Raw.
Exactly. And coming to us from the land of Vespas, it's Bagel.
Greetings. And greetings to the very lucky squirrel who I narrowly missed on the ride today.
Nice. And then in his kitchen eating that we're all watching, but he muted so he can't hear us. It's Douglas. He'll show up eventually. I love it. He just left the camera on. He went to make some food. But I wanted to start because we had such a busy day today. First of all, it was beautiful. Yeah, I know. It's always beautiful. But this weekend felt different. Did you guys feel it? Like it's spring and like everyone is busting out now.
It's summer.
Is it summer?
At least up here it felt like summer.
Well, don't tell that to Michelle in South Dakota. I think it snowed the other day.
Oh,
Yeah.
yikes.
Big crowds here. And of course we had Jason from JP Hans doing another suspension workshop. I had people showing up early today, which was really cool.
Yes, you weren't able to perform your morning ablutions, were you?
No, I didn't get to do my morning poo till this afternoon. I know.
That's bad news.
I was still in the house. I heard the engines. I'm like, uh-oh. They arrived early. But we had people coming from all over Northern California. $40 suspension tune-ups. It was a good day. And Jason was there and Mommy Megan with baby Elliot. And we had dogs and we had just people everywhere. Kat showed up today. It was great to see her. And just having a lot of the old schoolers and brand new people and listeners. Well, you guys were there. It was a good day.
And
Yeah, it was incredible.
Talk about the old schoolers. I'd like to give a big shout out to my homies in Monterey, the Inca Mayans who came down. We had Bolivia in the house.
Yeah.
Big time.
Nice.
Yeah, we had two roll up on an Energicus. And
Yeah, we had
fun to see them.
few
Beautiful
energy
bikes.
here.
Yeah,
Wow.
they came from Florida and traveled across the country.
They weren't on energy because were they?
Yes,
Oh.
they were.
Holy
Oh,
cow.
well, we had Morgan and Tony and some of the other wackadoos here.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
electric bike day.
Yeah, it was really cool. But it's just a reminder of why it's so important to get your suspension set up because so many people said, I haven't touched it since I got it from the shop. And you can go in there and tweak it and your preload and your rebound and your balance. And it's really worth it. Let's see. But we didn't get a lot work done today. Oh, I did put new decals on the KLR that's going to South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
It looks prettier now. And
I saw you playing with your decals. How did they come out in the end? Did you put the center stripe one on?
yeah, I put them all on. It all worked out. By the time I got to the other side of the bike and it was late in the day, I didn't care as much about bubbles. After all, it is a KLR.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I also got a volunteer to ride it to South Dakota.
Victim.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
would be,
Victim. Start with the same "the," darling.
huh?
Start with
What?
the same letter. Volunteer. Victim.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that would be John himself here.
All right.
Hey,
Stumpy
hey.
going on a road trip. Come on now.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
told him there's a lot of really cool things to see. I mean, even when Jim and I did our trip and went through Yellowstone and Devil's
Mhm.
Tower, and Idaho is really cool. The Snake River, Bonneville Salt Flats. There's a lot of really cool stuff to see on a bike. The only thing, like, I think going through the desert in this summer, in Nevada desert, how's that bike gonna do? That's an air cooled bike. How's it gonna do in the heat, Emma?
What's air called?
It's water cooled.
Oh, it is water cooled.
Yes.
I just think the thing is just so archaic. It's a water cooled, so it should be okay.
Like it's going to be fine.
Oh.
And
I should probably see if there's any coolant.
yeah, you should.
That might be.
Well, no, John, and I want you to know that the bike was sold to Liza through Mototown, and you get the exclusive Mototown end of the driveway guarantee. So if it makes it to the end of the street, you're good. That's the end of the guarantee.
Hey, Emma, do me a favor. Tap on your mic. Yeah, your mic is not on. It's going from
Oh,
the
hang
computer
on.
audio.
I've got a better idea.
It sounds pretty good, but it can sound even better. Plug it
It's
in.
going to sound better if I plug the fucker in.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I love that you're wearing that. You don't even realize.
Do I sound better, darling?
Oh, yeah.
A little loud. Just pull it back a ways.
That's what he said.
There you go. Yeah. So John he's going to have an adventure.
I'm
And
super pumped.
Emma-
I've never.
oh, go ahead.
Well, I'm just super pumped to get out there, and I've never been to Black Hills and never been in that part of the country. I've been in Wyoming, but not in South Dakota. So yeah, gonna head out and see if we get there. Okay.
And talk to Michelle out there. Michelle will send you out on the most amazing roads
Mhm.
and dirt roads too. And they're all like, you can do loops, like infinite loops from where her motel is in Custer of dirt and pavement and see amazing things like the crazy horse that they're still carving,
Mhm.
half carved. It's pretty cool. So yeah, thank you for volunteering. We actually had a bunch of people reach out who volunteered to do that. So Michelle and I started looking at buying another bike to send out.
And I would like to actually, if I may, read a message I got from Michelle this morning. She's going to be embarrassed about this, but I'm going to read it anyway. And the message goes, "Hello, beautiful. Just a note to say I'm thinking of you. Hope all is well with Motortown. I'm so excited to see it open and grow and be a huge success for you. Hugs from South Dakota, Michelle. P.S. If you like a Santa Cruz Motor Film Festival poster for your wall, drop me your mailing address." And you know,
Yes.
but this is the community we live in. It's
Mhm.
wonderful. No, Michelle's great.
Yeah, which, hey, thanks for reminding me because that was on my list to mention. Don't forget to get your tickets to the Santa Cruz Moto Film Festival, which is happening May 14th through 30th. It's online. You don't need to be in Santa Cruz to view it. It's pretty cool. Also, it's free. What? Yeah, it's free.
Yep.
The first weekend of viewing is free. And if you want the extended viewing to get it for the full 14th to the 30th, it's only $10. That also gets you, we're going to throw some extra content. I'm going to be doing some interviews with some filmmakers and such. Also,
And I just want to clarify, Liza, for
Yeah.
our listeners who are in London, specifically they're in London.
Yeah.
Darlings, when Liza says free, she doesn't mean a number between 2 and 4. She means 0. Thank you.
Thank
Because
you.
it's 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't it? Hey!
So going
Free
down
Queen.
to Rev Sisters, that's REV sisters.com, and you can get your tickets there. So let's see, we got a couple things. Let's talk about the one show, why don't we? You
Yeah,
guys
let's talk
coming
about.
up. Is that 2 weeks now?
Yep.
I think so. We are leaving, me and Mr. McCarthy and Jonathan the Dalton,
Mm-hmm.
leaving on Thursday lunchtime. And we're heading to, it's an 11-hour drive. So we'll break it up. We'll do 5 hours, which will about put us in Reading. And I think we'll overnight in Reading. And then we'll continue on to the one show. I've got to be there earlier than you guys because we have to get Miss Tubbo in for 3 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah.
So, but apparently the show is open that evening.
Yeah.
Opening the doors 5 o'clock, I think, or something.
I have to check. I know Jim and I are getting in the early afternoon. He said something about a place that has great steak that we need to go. Bagel, do you know something
brilliant.
about that?
Okay. What are you going to do? Are you going to rent a
I
car
have
from
heard
the
there is a
airport?
steak place.
He said bring lots of $1 bills. I'm not sure.
Oh, I know that place. I know that place, Bagel.
Yes.
Place Bagel doesn't talk about it anymore.
Well, no, that's fine. I'm hoping to run into some old friends there who I've stayed in contact since last year. Liza, are
Yes.
you renting a car at the airport with Jim, or are you relying on your friends to collect you?
I rented a Jeep. That's right.
So,
Because when in
okay.
Oregon.
When in Oregon,
Yeah.
oh, dear Mikey 3 times. Last year,
Mikey 3 times.
so last
my
year when we went to the one show, it was just before the pandemic. We just squeaked in before the pandemic. And I thought, I am just going to rent the cheapest car imaginable. So I went on this website and I just rented the cheapest, absolute cheapest. I didn't know what I was going to get. I just pressed the cheapo button. And I got this awesome Subaru Impreza 4-wheel drive. It was brilliant. I loved it. Mikey 3 times, very much like you, Liza, thought, I'm going to rent a Jeep because I'm going to be great.
Yeah.
And he was presented with this lipstick red mommy SUV. And you could tell. We met at a restaurant outside the airport. So we went off in our own directions to get our individual cars. And of course, I was in a Subaru. So I got there ahead of everyone. And I saw this lipstick red Jeep 4-door pull in. And I thought, that's a mommy SUV if ever I saw one. And this crushed Mike. And he looked embarrassed to be driving this thing. As well he should, because, it was hooker red. It was quite appealing in its own way. But I think in his mind, he was going to get this thing that was like flat black with a skull and crossbones on it.
Well, we've had people reaching out saying that they're going to be there and want to know where to meet us. The problem is I haven't seen this. This is a new setup, so we don't really know how it works. I would say probably the best thing is to look for the pink Goldwing with a turbo attached. And
Yes.
you'll probably find one of us nearby at any
Hovering,
time.
because I have no intention of spending all my time with Miss Turbo. At best, my relationship with that thing is tenuous, and I can usually stand about 2 hours of her company, and then I've had enough. So I'll be fobbing it off.
Wait,
on one
am
of
I
you.
Miss Turbo or is your bike Miss Turbo?
My bike is Miss Turbo.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, Liza is lacking a nickname. I kind of noticed that, so we could maybe
When
find
you
one.
have a name, an uncommon name, you don't need the nickname.
Right. But yeah, that's the best bet. Or what we can do right now is we can take the opportunity of describing ourselves, but the caveat is you're not allowed to describe yourself. You have to describe another member of the group.
Okay. Emma looks like Lisa Loeb, who aged poorly.
Bagel, conversely, Bagel looks like the guy on the Gorton's fish stick packet who had a fight with some orange food dye.
Oh, no.
Liza looks like Heather Locklear after the accident.
After the botched surgery.
And Mike McCarthy is the absolute spitting image of Bluto from the Popeye cartoons.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and if you, I describe Jim as like a oversized toddler.
An oversized bearded toddler. So there you are. We'll be easy to spot.
Yeah.
Just
and
look-
and John Dalton, he's our exotic that we're bringing with us.
Oh,
That's
no.
right. He is very exotic looking.
He is.
You know,
I mean,
and
you can play Guess That Asian all day with him. It's fun.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
He carries it very well. But so easy to spot. Look for the circus troupe, and
Look for the freak show.
The Misfits. I mean,
The Misfits, exactly. And do you remember? Just a reminder: if you want to get some free swag, all you got to do is go up to Bagel and say, "Emma, kiss the ginger, 25 cents."
yes,
Yes, in your
Yes,
best
you have
Emma
to do
accent.
that. kiss a ginger.
Doug is shaking his head like, "Nope."
just say it. Don't do it.
Yeah, just say you don't do it, and you'll get some special Emma swag.
Ooh.
Special Emma swag if you have drawn Bagel's beard on your face mask. And if you've never seen Bagel's beard, that's fine. You've just got to approximate what Bagel's beard looks like. My suggestion is you buy some fish sticks and look at the gentleman on the front and get out the orange crayon. So,
Just the Gordon's fisherman.
yes, exactly.
There you go.
Oh my God.
And conversely, you cannot trust Bagel.
With what?
Gingers have no souls.
Yes, because he'll steal your heart, darling.
So hopefully look for us at the one show
Oh God!
and just remember to find Bagel and say the magic phrase.
Kiss a ginger, 25
cents.
in it, eh?
Aye. So lots of socializing going on at the garage today, but there was someone who was actually getting work done. In fact, I got to talk to Amber, who was there with her Ninja 250, who made some progress. But again, we talked about last week how she started getting a little bit down on it. And I told her a story. I said, "Look, Amber, let me tell you about years ago when the garage was still kind of new. And I had this guy come here with a free bike, and all he had to do was get it running. And one thing after another, that bike just wouldn't run. In fact, it would run backwards. And he had to rebuild that engine like 5 times, but he didn't give up. He just kept going. And then he finally figured it out and he got it running. And even though it wasn't really worth much, just an old little Honda, he loved that bike so much. In fact, after he sold it years later, it showed up on Craigslist and he bought it back. And I said, and she's like, "Wow, really?" I'm like, "Yep. In fact, he's right there. It's Douglas." I was working on that bike right there. And it was kind of cool to tell her, like, yeah,
Nice.
it's worth it. And it's not just worth it because of the bike that you'll have. The bike is still going to be, it's still going to be a piece of shit bike. But Douglas, for you, what was it? What was that feeling that you finally figured it out, you know?
Well, to be honest, Adrian actually figured it out. She was like, it's the timing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was an $80 used part after 5 rebuilds, replacing the starter clutch, which was getting damaged every time I tried to start it. So I was fixing the problem that the timing was causing inside the motor when it was an external fix the entire time. But that feeling when it actually started up and ran over and over and over and over again with no flaws after it was fixed was like gold. And doing that many times and having the bike in absolutely every single piece you can imagine, I know that bike like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
And it's a good feeling. If something goes wrong, I know exactly what's going on.
And that's something that's so great about these, project bikes, resurrecting something from the dead. And even though it's hard when you're in Amber's position to really see that end of the road, it was really nice to have you there working on that same bike. How many years later? Like 10 years later or something?
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
10 years later.
And I'm still working on it, but not functionally. It's all blinkers and accessories and stuff. And
so that
painting.
bike has stayed running good the whole time.
Yeah.
Wow.
When I bought it back, the young lady who sold it to me said, well, it got dropped on the left side and now it won't shift out of first. So sure enough, I got up there to Hayward and looked at it, and yeah, it wouldn't shift out of first. So I got it back to Santa Cruz and took a look at it, and I just bent that shift lever away from the crankcase a little bit, and it was good to go.
And this is a CB400T, right?
1981.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm hoping Amber stays with it, and she got the carbs clean today. Yes, Emma, and the bike actually ran.
Well, oftentimes you can kind of pluck victory from the jaws of defeat. And we did the carbs, and I did a few little modifications to get the carbs just so. And we bolted it all back together. It was running like an absolute three-legged horse. It wouldn't start. It wouldn't run on two cylinders. It was just a fucking nightmare. And I could see she was just getting completely disheartened. And I was a little, and I'm like, what the hell's this bike going to throw at us now? So I walked away and just had a little 5-minute sit down and think about myself. And I thought, okay, we've got to deal with the individual problems.
Which I'd like to point out is the proper way to handle things. Unlike, Doug, you remember when John didn't walk away, instead picked up a hammer?
Yeah. He was like,
just beat his bike to death.
Dude,
literally.
I want to go push this thing off a cliff.
Which John is this?
Oh, and he raged, and I saw the horns grow, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to step away. For
Another John. Yeah. He was the first John, so he's John.
He was so mad. He was turning red.
Eating the fins off with a hammer. Yeah.
So we found that the starting problem was nothing more than a fuzzy ignition switch. Bit of lubrication really solved that problem. So now that was the starting problem, but it was still running like a three-legged horse. And it has still got all its California emissions on, which meant the vacuum lines, which meant the charcoal canister, meant the vacuum petcock. And I did what I usually do, and I just bypassed everything. I chucked everything away and just blocked off all the vacuum lights. So you just had 2 carburetors pumping fuel into the engine, and it ran well. I needed to do a tiny bit of final detail work on getting the idle air mix set up, but it ran great. But of course I had to leave and go home so I could do this podcast, but we'll finish it up next week, and she'll be down the road, hopefully.
Nice. Swag went out. I think a lot of people have been sending messages. They're getting their swag, the stickers, and their neck gaiters. So if you haven't received your swag, Bagel, you got yours?
I got mine.
Nice.
Thank you very much.
What did you get, Bagel? What did you get?
I got a neck gaiter and a sticker.
Nice.
Very
It's
flashy.
rainbowy.
Yes, flashy
Isn't it
rainbowy
nice?
sticker. Very, very nicely done.
Yeah. So, just a reminder that the swag goes out to all of our Patreon subscribers of any dollar amount, $1 to $4. You got a sticker sent to you, and for $5 or more, you got a neck gaiter. I think, and Emma, we even had some Ask Miss Emma questions this week.
And
So,
and more remarkably, I got to them.
yeah,
hey.
I know. So
And
yeah.
under duress and bullying from you, I should point out. Quite right. You got to kick me in the ass because I've got so much going on. But yeah, nice question. So I'm going to talk about them right now, if I may. May I?
All right.
Yes. Yeah. So the two Ask Miss Emma ones, here we go. I'm going to go for them. So the one is a continuation from Ethan. And Ethan has been resurrecting, I think his father or his uncle's CB450. A lot older than yours, Doug. This is from the very early 1970s. Absolutely gorgeous bike. And Ethan has been methodically going through each system and getting it just so. And it sounds that he has, let's have a look.
And awkward pause.
No, I'm just looking to try and get to.
It looked like
yeah. He's got a problem where the bike is running worse the warmer it gets. And you know, that can be a variety of things. It can be an electrical component heating up, it can be a coil going out, it can be a funky ignition switch. And as the poor contacts in the switch heat up, the resistance increases and it causes a misfire. However, in his case, I think it's a fueling issue. And so I gave him a few pointers to look at and get him down the road. And the other one was from Chris. And Chris has been offered a very, very interesting bike. He's been offered very unusual Suzuki RE5. Now, that's the rotary.
Yeah.
Yeah, from 1975. There's quite a few of these things out there. They come in two flavors. They come in the Gen 1 flavor, which has got the absolute batshit crazy instrument panel where you put the key in and this blue plexiglass lid kind of flips back and you can see the instrument pack. Just barking mad. And then they kind of tone down the styling a bit for Gen 2. Which is equally nuts, but not quite as desirable because people like just the craziness of Gen 1. Yeah, there you go. Just absolutely just batshit crazy styling. Lovely old things. And, you know, they had an undeserved reputation. Well, it was quite deserved, really, for unreliability back in the day. Nowadays, oil and coolant is a lot better quality than it used to be back in 75. So if you run really top quality oil and coolant, you can actually enjoy these things. And they won't necessarily let you down. I wouldn't take one out on a 100-degree day, but for just something to kind of tazz about on and have some fun, it's a wonderful thing. And they sound epic. They sound like a little motorboat. They can really unusual. Lovely thing. So he's been offered this, and it looks like a very, very nice bike. It's got some period saddlebags on it which need to go, but otherwise it's right there. Cool. It's a lovely thing. So I've given him some pointers about what he should pay for it, because he wants to get a bargain, but he wants to be respectful to the owners, which is, I think, where we all should be when we buy bikes. Much as we like to get bargains, you never want to be disrespectful to a seller when you're getting a bike. If you're brawling in the street, perhaps you're bargaining a little too hard. So hopefully the figures I came up with are within his budget, and he'll end up riding an RE5 home.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to play a game?
No.
No.
What's wrong with you people? Because it's game time.
All right.
So I've modified the game. You guys don't know the game. This game is now called Right and Wrong Answers Only.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Here's how the game's going to play.
See, you rigged it already because you told me something earlier today.
Yeah, I did. I changed it.
Like I did.
So I'm going to tell you a model of bike that is recognized just by the letters in the name. First, you need to tell me what the brand is. That needs what make it is. That needs to be the right answer. And then you need to tell me what those letters stand for, and that needs to be the wrong answer.
Okay.
Got it? So, for instance, just as an example, even though this is not not a model, this is a brand. KTM. Emma, what does KTM stand for?
Costs too much.
Keep throwing money.
All right.
Kick 20 more.
All right, so let's
What
start.
does KTM stand for?
Wrong answers only. Okay. So you guys got it. I need the right answer and then the wrong answer. We're going to start with a
Yes, all
couple
right.
layups.
Something Austrian Motorenwerk, I'm sure.
All right, Douglas.
Yes.
KLR.
Killer.
What's the right answer? And
The
then
right
wrong-
answer for the model or the
brand.
The brand,
The
it's a
make.
Kawasaki.
Correct. And what's it stand for?
I call it the killer.
Killer. The killer. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's inappropriate, Doug.
Okay, we'll go with that.
It's the killer of self-esteem.
Yeah, it just kills your entire
Oh, no.
pride. Riding one.
All right.
You always wear a full face when you ride it.
Yes, exactly. You should
Killer.
always
Easy.
wear.
Come on. Now you're
Not
hurting
as Emma
feelings.
calls it, the cockroach. Okay. John.
Mm-hmm.
GSA. What's the right answer?
It's a BMW.
And what's the wrong answer?
Oh gosh, I'm blanking. Goats suck ass.
I think that's right.
I think I read that in the motorcycle museum one time.
Okay.
It's in the owner's manual, page 1.
Yeah, specific instructions for
All
how
right.
to use this.
Emma.
Yes,
FLXR. What's the right answer?
That's a hard one.
it's a Harley Davidson.
That is correct. And what's the wrong answer?
It's a fairly low xylophone reducer because it's fairly low. It's fairly low, and if you put a xylophone in front of it, it will reduce it. And that's how they named it, and that's true.
Oh. Okay.
I think the
All right.
other one is fucking love X-rays.
Oh, I love X-rays.
All right. So let's go now. Who's up next? Oh, it's Bagel.
Yes.
All right, Bagel. Let's give you a DRZ.
DRZ.
What's the right answer?
The right answer is Suzuki.
Okay.
The wrong answer is Drizzle. I don't know. And his nickname is Dr. Z.
We want the wrong answer. All right. Drizzle.
I don't know.
How about don't ride zebras?
Okay.
Okay. Which is really good, solid advice.
Okay.
Ever
I'd agree
been
with
to
that.
Africa or the
Yeah.
zoo?
I'm sure
All
they
right.
don't appreciate that.
All right. All right, Douglas.
Oh,
Let's go with CBR. What's the right answer?
that is Honda makes the CBR.
That's great.
Honda.
And what's the wrong answer?
Can't boost right.
Ooh,
Ooh. Ooh.
boosty.
All right. Let's go to John. KZ.
Kawasaki.
That's correct. What's the wrong answer?
Killing Zinc. Man, how many Z's are there? Come on, that's not fair. I was going to say zebra, but that's already been out there.
Could be
Killing-
the
Killing
kazoo.
zinc. Okay. All right. Let's see. Emma, you know, I'm going to keep giving you the hard ones, Emma.
Oh God.
Okay, Emma. GSXR.
GSXR.
What's the right answer?
That is a Suzuki.
Correct.
Oh, Suzuki.
What's the wrong answer?
Just
Go
Google it.
slowly, crossing roads.
That is some good advice.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
All right.
And that's in the owner's manual too, page 2.
All right. Bagel.
Yes.
VFR.
VFR is Honda.
That is correct.
The wrong answer is visual flight rules.
Yes.
Because that's the only thing I can ever think of when I hear that bike.
All right. Douglas, since you have one, XR.
That was also Honda.
That is right. And what's the wrong answer?
Ooh, X-rated.
Oh! Ooh, that's a good one.
Not wrong too.
All right. John, SMT.
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 Isn't
What's
that
the
is that
what's the right answer?
The new Chinese bike?
Nope. SMT. I will help you out.
Okay.
You rode next to one yesterday.
I rode next to one yesterday. Is
Yes.
that a KTM?
That is correct.
There we go.
Costume.
So what's the wrong answer?
Sad Mother's Touring.
I was going to say slicing more tomatoes.
I like smelly men's trousers.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Emma,
Hello.
let's go with the TL1000S. What does the TL and S stand for? And what? Well, first of all, what's the right answer?
The right answer is also a Suzuki.
That is correct. And what is the wrong answer?
What was it? The S.
TL1000S.
It's terribly restrictive 1,000 shorts.
There's an
Missed an
L
L.
in there.
There's an L in there.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a it's the
TL1000S.
TLR. No, it's the TLR. Okay, it's the TL. It's the terribly long 1,000 shorts. The long shorts, you see. I don't fucking know.
Lots of
All
board
right.
shorts.
Let's see if I can stump Bagel on this one.
Ooh, okay.
Bagel, RMZ.
RMZ.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Somebody in this group has owned one.
I want to say that's a Yamaha. Am I right?
Douglas, is he right?
He is wrong, and so are you,
Oh,
because RMZ is a 4-stroke.
Oh, you have. All right. You want to tell him who makes the RMZ?
It's a Suzuki.
There you go.
okay.
All right. So Suzuki RMZ. Bagel, what does RMZ stand for?
Ride more zebras.
I thought we were off the anti-riding zebra.
That is don't ride zebras.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh my heck. All right. Douglas,
Yes.
how about the CRF?
Also a
Right answer.
Honda.
There you go. They're good at this.
It's rough.
And what's the wrong answer?
Wrong answer is could ride frequently.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right. John,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to challenge you here.
Uh-oh.
DSR.
Ooh.
DSR.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Is
Doug
that
and
a,
Emma know what it is. Bagel, you know what a DSR is.
is
yeah?
that a, it's not a zero, is it?
It is.
Thank you.
Very good. And what does DSR stand for?
Doug is strong and ready.
All right. Emma,
Yes, darling.
how about the XLT?
XL.
T.
XLT.
XLT.
Is that Triumph Exploder?
Now I don't remember.
We'll call it Triumph.
Sorry.
We'll
Hold
call
on.
it
Hold on. I think it was. Oh no, now they're showing me extra large motorcycle shirts. Nope, that's not what I wanted.
No, we'll call it
Extra large tall. No, that's not it. Okay. Let me recall that. Oh wait. Oh nope. Sorry. That one was a wrong one. Let's go instead with the FLXST.
FLXST.
Yes.
But I liked okay.
No,
Is
S, is there an S?
Harley Davidson.
Yes. No, that's the wrong answer.
Okay. Frank's left X-ray. Frank's left X-ray leaves.
ST.
Frank's left X-ray leaves
S.
S. Is it S?
Yes. S.
Leaves
FLX.
Sunday.
ST.
Leaves
T.
Sunday. Tomorrow.
Good save.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
All right. Let's end with
Oh,
bagel.
thank God. This can't happen soon.
I say I might need to get another beer.
Bagel GPZ.
GPZ, or as some may know it, the GPZ.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
What's the
Bagel.
right answer?
I believe that is a Kawasaki
Correct.
and goes past 0.
Oh,
And it does
That was good.
in some circumstances.
Hopefully.
very good. And there were so many more we could have done, but I thought it'd be fun because everyone comes up with the nicknames for, Emma. What do you call the DRZ? The Dr. Z, right?
Well, no, I call it Dr. Brad Zimmerman. Actually, that's thanks to Mr. McCarthy. You came up with that. Yeah, Dr. Brad Zimmerman,
You guys
which
are
I think
silly.
is quite appropriate.
I wanted to do a quick plug for I talked about the Santa Cruz Moto Film Festival, right?
Yes.
May 14th. I wanted to talk about one of the movies that's in this. It's really good.
Okay.
There's a movie called Somewhere Else Together. And this guy, Daniel, he did like 10 years ago, he was riding around the world, and he did a movie called Somewhere Else Tomorrow. Well, now he's got a wife, and they decided to go ride.
Well, how did that happen?
He stopped riding, met her, got married, but she also rides. And so they decided to do a big trip where they flew their bikes, a GS and a KLR, I believe,
Right.
to New York, where they then rode all the way up to the Arctic, above Alaska.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then all the way down to Ushuaia, just like kind of what Michelle Lanford did. Taking their time, and also the way that they kind of paid for it is they kind of took opportunities to work along the way and pick up odd jobs and earn money. And so they filmed this, and it was really cool to see a couple things. One, that when you're living life on the road, that you will meet up with other travelers, and they're German, and they would meet other Germans traveling on motorcycle, and they'd like partner with them for, a few countries or something. It's kind of cool to see that lifestyle. I've experienced it in Pakistan when we picked up some riders, there's like,
Nice.
You just meet other, like, these are like real bikers. And just seeing how they're handling stuff like crossing deserts and dealing with breakdowns on the side of the road, stuff like that. But the thing that was really fascinating about this is they got down to Ushuaia, and they realized that, like, they didn't feel like their adventure was done. Like, they weren't done. Maybe you guys know, have you ever done like a trip where you're like, you just feel like you're not finished. You didn't have enough time. You have more energy in you. Bagel would know, as a long distance rider.
Yeah.
I felt that way. I know I've like come back from like road trips, and I'm coming up to my house, and I'm like, I just want to keep going. Like, I have more in me. Well, that's exactly what they did. And they packed up their bikes in a container and they went to South Africa, and they decided that they would ride from the Cape of Africa all the way back up to Germany.
Wow.
And it was really well done. Not to give too much away, but the thing that I really loved about it is kind of like talking about Douglas and his bike earlier. They were running into problem after problem. Bike breakdowns and having no water and running out of money and not having the visa and local politics and and just being set back by stuff and just being so beat down that they were questioning if they should have continued on, you know?
Right.
And the movie got really like down. Like you felt this with them. You felt how hard it got. And I don't want to give away the ending, but it gets better. And you feel that with them too. And that's something that's really great about a movie like this. That you can feel what they're feeling. They communicated that through the film. So that was really cool. So that's one of the movies, Somewhere Else Together, that we will be featuring in the Santa Cruz Moto Film Festival. Emma, a question came up after you left that I thought would be a good topic. So,
Okay.
Amber, we were all sitting around at the end of the day. Everyone put stuff away. And Amber asked a question. And she said, just curious, how many miles are bikes good for? You know, because, oh, I didn't tell you, you know, Michael showed up. He bought another bike. I mean, you know, the kids who buy like a new bike every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He showed up and he got a an F650 GS for a really good price.
Who?
You know, Michael, one of the two guys who look like brothers but are just friends, and they always show up on like an old 2-stroke or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got a good bike, but he said, but it has kind of higher mileage. It's got like 55,000. And so Amber said, well, what constitutes like high mileage for a bike? Like how long can a bike go? Well, that started a whole conversation with the group because Kat was there and she's like, I got over 100 grand on my old GS. It's still going.
Right.
And, you know, I know people who put 200,000 on a bike, but then
Right.
I also have seen bikes with a few thousand on it that things are starting to go bad. And I was explaining to her that you have two things that you're working against. One is miles, but the other one is time.
Yes.
So, Em, I thought it'd be good. Let's talk about what things to look for. I mean, and what you should expect and why it is so important to do the regular maintenance and what a difference that will make on the life of a bike.
Right. You know, a very interesting analogy was with aircraft. And up until quite recently, aircraft manufacturers could be, even small aircraft manufacturers could be sued for problems with a 30, 40-year-old aircraft. And the argument was against that. Well, when a vehicle gets to a certain age, it doesn't matter whether it's a car, an aircraft, tank, whatever, it stops being a product of its manufacturer and starts being a product of who's worked on it. And that is largely true. There's a lot of things that can go right with a bike. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with a bike. So I've got some questions for the group in the room right now.
Fun.
So, okay. So here's the answer from each of you.
Okay.
Which do you think is potentially the better bet? A 20-year-old bike that has done 2,000 miles and has pretty much lived outside under a tarp, or a bike that's done 50,000 miles and has been regularly maintained? Same age bike.
I would go with the 50,000
The latter.
every day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
Right.
Well,
It's
you said
my
50. If you said 150,
Well, that's something quite different.
Yeah.
But 50 is still quite a mileage for a bike.
Oh,
and
can
so
I
the meat-
can I put an asterisk on that one? It depends on the bike. A BMW is good for 100 to 200,000. I don't know about KTM's as much. Like
Right.
40 starts to seem like you're getting into maybe the danger zone. So, and Ducatis, stuff like that. Whereas a
Right.
Honda would be completely different. I mean, Knock has his super Hawk with over 100 on it. So it really depends on the bike.
It
too.
depends on the, the thumpers don't really last as long either. So I mean, if you got a thumper twin versus a straight four,
Yeah.
the straight four is going to last longer.
Yeah, there's so many different factors, but generally maintenance counts for a huge amount. And maintenance, the easiest thing in the world, and you got to drum it into people, is oil.
Hey, I'm gonna bring your mic around a little bit.
Quality oil and good regular oil changes.
I thought you were eating hot dogs, Liza.
Yeah, it was. You
Yeah.
kind of got quiet. Yeah, bring it in a little.
So
Yeah.
there's kind of two parts of the question though. Like how much is too much to buy a motorcycle? And at what point do you stop investing in fixing a motorcycle? Because those are
Well, and those
two
are
different questions.
very valid points. And I get asked this a lot because my business tends to be older motorcycles. And older motorcycles, the price range is just crazy. If we take what Doug rides, 1981 Honda CB400. I've seen 81 CB400s change hands for $6,000 or $7,000 recently, but they look like they just rolled off the showroom floor. Conversely, I've seen them change hands for $100, and that's the range. And every price range within that is valid, because if you were to take that $100 CB400 and turn it into a showroom ready one, it's going to cost you about $7,000, maybe even a little bit more. So all prices are valid. It's what's good for you. And I know that's kind of the devil's advocate answer. If you know how to work on bikes, if you've got friends who to work on bikes, you can be a lot more cavalier when you're choosing. But if you know nothing about bikes, if you have no access to a garage, you have no access to tools, if you have no access to a garage collective in your town, and you're going to be completely behooving on dealers or independent workshops to look after your bike, well, number one, a new bike is the way to go. Or if you are buying a used bike, buy a very low mileage, well-maintained used bike. And what I found out is people generally, there are some dishonest people out there. There's no getting away from that. But generally, people don't go out of their way to be dishonest. I've come across this 1,000 times. People will think, oh, I need to put a new chain and sprocket on that bike to sell it. And they plant it in their mind, and then life gets in the way. You know, the baby needs shoes or whatever, or, you know, the girlfriend leaves them or the boyfriend leaves them, whatever. But that chain and sprocket's still planted in their head. And so they list the bike on Craigslist. They, oh, yeah, it's got a new chain and sprocket on it. And it hasn't. It's still got the old chain and sprocket that's sucked out. And they don't mean to be dishonest. It's just, oh, I thought I replaced that. You know, a few years ago, do you remember Jonathan Morabito?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He bought an FZ6 Yamaha. Every single thing that the guy had said he'd done to the bike needed replacing. And the guy who was selling it wasn't being dishonest. He genuinely thought he'd done them. And in the end, he was so embarrassed by the fact that he'd fumbled the ball on everything. We basically got that bike for nothing. I think he wanted $3,500 for it. In the end, we gave him $1,700.
Oh, you went with him to buy that, huh?
Yeah.
Ah.
You know?
No, that is very frustrating. I bought a bike once and it came with no rear passenger foot peg.
Yes, exactly. But the difference is, and this is why you should always buy a bike from Mototown,
Yeah.
because a passenger footrest, not just any passenger footrest, but lovingly finished in a high gloss black enamel, arrived a week later.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
So let me
the
ask
fact
you this.
that the rest of the bike is satin black, this is academic.
Let's talk a bit about if you are looking at a bike that has, say, 40 to 50,000, which really,
Okay.
if it's only like a 5-year-old bike, what things should you be looking for on a bike that's got 40 to 50,000 miles?
Okay, so let's start with the basics. And the basics are, does it still have tread on the tires? Now remember, at 40 or 50,000 miles, it's going to have got through a few sets of tires. It's probably on its at least third or fourth front tire. It might be on its fifth or sixth rear tire. If it's a super bike, it's not unusual for super bikes to eat up a rear tire in like 4,000 miles, especially if you're heavy with the right wrist. So it could be on its 12th or 13th rear tire. So check the tires have tread. Check the rims aren't all gouged up. Check it's still got brake pads. If it's a shaft-driven bike, make sure the final drive isn't leaking and it's not clunk, clunk, clunk when you shift gear. If it's got chain and sprockets. No matter how well you look after a chain, there's still a finite life to it. You know, I look after chains as best as I'm able. I keep them well adjusted. I keep them lubed. I keep them clean. But, you know, 20, 25, 30,000 miles is everything for a chain. Even if you look after it like a newborn baby, as the tigress protects her young, 30,000 miles is done. So you're still going to need to put a chain and sprocket on it. So check that. Basics, check the oil. What color's the oil? You know, if it looks as black as a pair of Vickers socks, it's a very, very good, because Vickers, what you don't realize about Vickers is they have special black socks and they're blacker than every other sock. Bet you didn't know that.
We needed to use Vickers on the VFR.
Yes, exactly. So check the oil. Is it nice golden color? If somebody has taken the trouble to keep on top of the oil changes and it's got nice oil in it when they're selling the bike, there's a good chance it's had a fairly well kept life. What color should coolant be?
Yellow or green?
Or
pink?
blue?
Or blue?
All colors.
Yes.
The thing is, if it's the color of wee wee, it's old. And it smells like old wee wee, it's old. So you don't need to know what the original color was if it's a vibrant, whatever it is. Whether it's orange, whether it's...
smells like wee, it came from...
You've got a rodent problem, and I'll give you $300 for it, and I'm doing you a favor.
I just put mine out in a tub and near the neighbor's cat to see if they will drink it or not. And
Oh,
if,
no.
Right, there you go. Oh,
no.
poor
Don't
cat.
do that.
Emma, I have a suggestion. This is something I've seen a lot of with people buying
Yes,
cheaper bikes. Steering head bearings.
always.
It's so common that people don't lubricate it or check that it's too tight or too loose. And I mean, Doug, we've seen this a lot of times. People come in with bikes like, ugh, it's like really worn down. Steering head bearings, I think when you're getting up to that kind of mileage.
Right.
Yeah.
Particularly with the older bikes that actually still have the balls instead of the roller bearings.
Yeah, because the roller bearings are spreading the load. But nevertheless, I mean, we tend to forget because we love them so much. These are mass production machines. Even Diavels, you know, even the highest top Ducati is a mass production bike. And some manufacturers are better than others. But generally, when it comes to lubricating things like steering head bearings, I think, you know, Fabrizio or whoever it is stands at one corner of the workshop with a little dollop of grease on the end of a butter knife and kind of flicks it across the workshop, and the tiny splash ends up on the bearing. Oh, sorry, it's bellissimo. And the thing gets assembled, and of course it all gets dried out and nasty. So just because they're a good bike, it doesn't mean that when it rolled down the line, people are going to have taken as much care of it as you're going to take care of it. Dry head bearings, Here's a top tip.
Ooh.
Back in the old days, before we had braided steel brake hoses, now they trick you these days because in the old days you could tell a braided steel brake hose because it was stainless steel color and it's like, oh, that looks lovely and shiny. Well, now they put a plastic coating on it.
Right.
So you're like, oh, I don't even know whether that is braided stainless steel. Well, it's very, very easy. If it's about the diameter of your pinky, it's rubber. If it's about the diameter of a pencil, it's braided stainless steel. Much smaller diameter than the braided stainless steel ones. But if it's got the old rubber hoses on it, bend it back against its curve.
Oh.
So if it's forming a curve that way, bend it the other way, and you'll see the cracks. And if it's cracked, you need new brake hoses.
Well, if you don't bend it, you're not going to crack it.
Expensive. Oh, and then it'll fail on you when you're doing an emergency stop. When some clown in a transit van does an emergency stop in front of you and you pull on your front brake hose and your bloody brake hose bursts and you end up going through the barn doors in the back and sitting in the driver's seat. Hello! That's not really what we want to aim for. So check those hoses carefully. And that's a time thing. It's a time thing. Anything that's made of plastic, anything that's made of rubber.
Well, we're still on bikes that are high mileage, low years.
Right.
So we're still things that miles, not time. Do you guys want to add anything to that? Especially Bagel, I want to hear for scooters. I mean, you mentioned chain and sprocket, but scooters have belts.
Well, belts are something that get replaced regularly. So, that's just a common wear item.
Okay.
Things that I would recommend checking for high mileage bikes would be bearings.
Oh yeah. How good are wheel bearings for? When should you start looking at wheel bearings, Emma?
Oh gosh. Believe me, a big pothole can take out your wheel bearings.
Yeah.
It's an entirely mechanical check. You've got to know how to check your wheel bearings and don't take it for granted. One good pothole when you're on the brakes and all the weight of your bike is on that front wheel and you hit a pothole, you can take out your wheel bearings there and then, even though they're lovingly maintained. So you've got to know how to check them. Yep.
And if you ride a lot of dirt and off-road, check them extra often too.
Yeah.
Especially
and if you ride a lot of dirt and off-road on your Vespa, check yourself into an asylum.
That too. Some other things that I'd recommend checking are electricals, because with higher mileage and more vibration over the years, that can wear through wiring harnesses, and you can have shorts, you can have broken wires, things like that. Even the connections inside the bulbs and other connections in the bike, those also with moisture exposure too, those can go bad. So, check those for wear, check them for damage, because you can sometimes catch those before they get worn through and before they damage the actual wiring, and you can patch it up so that it'll last longer. And like you said, rubber, all rubber, plastic components.
Well, we're going to get to that because that's low mileage, high years. But anyone want to add anything to high mileage, low years?
So one thing I always check is to ask if they've got a maintenance schedule. But then I do the research to find out when the next major maintenance is, specifically around valves. And if I can't do it myself, often the cost of, depending on the bike, the cost of the valves could be really prohibitive on an older bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, particularly on VFRs, I mean, the cost of doing valves on a VFR is staggering.
Well, I think that also goes for some carburetors on some of the VFRs and such.
Which is why that stands for valves for rent. It's about the same money.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Bagel, what you got?
Well, I was going to say, as a precursor to checking the valves, check the compression, because on a high mileage bike, that can always be an issue, because that can indicate a problem with valves and or rings or piston or anything else on the top end. So that's a good first step to check.
All right, so now let's switch it up. How about low miles, high years? And I will throw one out. Anything that's cable operated. I find that things that your brakes and clutch, people don't lube those. It gets dried up, and those start to fray pretty easily once they go. So checking the cables.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Particularly if the bike is being set outside under a tarp, as you said earlier. I mean, cables, anything plastic, anything that is rubber that holds a fluid in or out is going to be fucked by then. Yeah. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah, and that includes engine seals, suspension components.
Yeah, shift lever seals. Bearing
yeah,
seals,
I was going to talk about engine seals. If you're lucky enough, I mean, everybody wants a two-stroke to ride on the street. It's the dream of many, many people. And they're getting expensive now. But people still fall for it. You go onto eBay. I guarantee I could go onto eBay right now and there'd be Suzuki 3-cylinders somewhere in the Midwest with no mileage on them. $4,000 or $5,000. And, you know, either it doesn't run or runs but needs a tune-up. What it really needs are crank seals. So what you're going to end up doing is you're going to spend money on this bike, and the very first thing you're going to have to do is not only dismantle the engine, but then you're going to have to press apart the crank. And you need your friggin' wits about you if you're pressing apart a 3-cylinder crank. On the other side of the coin, you can just send it out to a specialist to get it done. But anything rubber, anything plastic has an extremely finite life. And even if it's lived inside, the clock is ticking. There's oils in plastic that bleed out, no matter how stable the temperature is. And that's why plastics become brittle with age, is that the natural oils in the plastic just bleed out, and the property of the plastic itself changes. It's the same with rubber. Rubber ages naturally. You know, rubber's a natural material. And it's like us, you know. I used to be a lot prettier when I was younger, but I'm getting all old and wrinkly now.
That's why you were hosing yourself down with WD-40 earlier.
That's right. It's the fountain of youth, darling. You know,
fish oil magic.
I figure if I keep using the WD-40, I will turn back into Lisa Loeb.
Just curious, what's WD-40 stand for? Wrong answer only.
I knew this.
Wet dick. Because the guy who invented it, Richard, who always went by his nickname, fell in the swimming pool, and the only thing that could save him was his pet spaniel.
Okay.
Who came bearing the oil.
I wasn't prepared for that.
Yes.
To go back to what we were talking about before.
Moist Richard.
Yes.
With plastic and rubber degrading, because like you were saying, even a bike parked inside that can happen to.
Oh yes.
One of the things to watch out for is ozone will more rapidly destroy rubber and plastic, and ozone is generated by electric motors indoors. So if you have your bikes parked in the garage and you have your washer and dryer in there and your heater and other equipment that runs electrical motors, that will generate some amount of ozone that will attack those parts.
Bagel, that was a top tip right there.
Yep. That is a top tip.
Very
and
well.
Always you play with these slot cars and trains when young, and you'd fire them up and you get that lovely whiff of ozone off the electric motors. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's happening right now?
What's that?
Mikey 3 times is hearing this, and he's moving his bikes out of the garage.
Or he's moving the washer and dryer into his house. Get these fucking things out of here.
No, I think Mikey 3 times is hurt with me for mentioning the lipstick red Jeep, and I'll forgive him.
It's easy to turn it off at that point. We're safe.
Yes.
No, exactly. I would take You know, a 10-year-old BMW with 100,000 miles, or I would take a 30-year-old Honda with 3,000 miles. Like, it all depends. But what I don't want is a 30-year-old BMW with 3,000 miles, because actually 30-year-old, no.
Well,
No,
That'd be
you still need
1990.
troubles,
The electronics have come in. I've just found, when you're talking about seals, that on bikes like BMWs or Ducatis, the biggest enemy is time, not miles, actually. Because
Oh yeah.
seals, you have to get access to stuff. I mean, remember, Doug, you were here when Dan got that free BMW from Jim Eckerman. All it needed was a new drive shaft seal.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up costing him the value of the bike to replace.
Yep.
And when it was done, he didn't love the bike, and he had, sold it. It was a very good condition, good bike, beautiful bike. But, he was lucky to just get out what he put into it, just to break even after doing all the work.
But for it to cost that much to replace one seal just seems so ridiculous.
That's a BMW for you.
It does. But then if you look at like an old Honda, which is a fun project to tear down the engine on your workbench, replace all the seals,
right?
And it's not that hard. It's kind of fun.
Well, Beamers are also, correct me if I'm wrong, but notorious for having ABS problems once they start getting older. And that the modules can be insanely expensive.
Yes. In fact, one of the unobtainium parts on a GPZ, one of my favorite bikes, is the ABS brain. I mean, 20 years ago, those were going for hundreds of dollars if you could find one still working. Emma, people don't make an aftermarket ABS brain for something like that, right?
No. And I mean, if you are lucky, it all depends on the.
Hold on, I need to correct myself. On the GPZ, didn't have ABS. It was my BMW had the ABS. It was the brain that controlled the fuel injection and timing. That's what I'm referring to.
And if you're very lucky, there's all kinds of specialists in Los Angeles who do this stuff for cars, and you may be lucky and find somebody and you can give them this and say, hey, can you have a go at rebuilding this for me? But otherwise, you're on your own. You're beholden to what you can find used. And the old Kawasaki DFI systems, they're like fragile.
Yeah.
And so good luck with that.
And the other thing too, the older the bike gets, like there's a whole graph. So what you want is a low mileage new bike. And on the other end of the spectrum of the graph is an old bike that's high mileage. That's the least valuable. So if it's an old bike, you want low mileage. And if it's a new bike, I mean, low mileage too, but getting an old bike, a 30, 40, 50-year-old bike with low mileage, Emma, how much does that affect the value? If you're getting, say, a CB750, a 1969 CB750 with 1,000 miles versus 15,000, right?
Again, it depends on the bike. But if you've got that factory conditions, low mileage bike, you bet you're going to get a premium for it. Do you remember that black CB750 I got for the Jackson collection? Did you see that with the 4 pipes on it?
Yeah.
Just really nice stock low mileage. I think there was 5,000 miles on it from new. And it wasn't perfect condition. There was patina on it, but it was absolutely original, down to the finish on the spokes. And that's where the value is, the originality. But it affects the value because, look, you get to a certain age, when you're dealing with 45, 50, 55-year-old machines, no matter what condition they're supposedly in, you're going to be doing rescue work when you get it. So it's better to do the rescue work on one with no mileage on it than, even what would be considered a lowish miles, but with some miles. So I'd say in that scenario, Liza, the 1,000-mile bike is worth considerably more than the 15,000-mile bike.
All right. So let me ask you just a final question on this topic. And I'm asking Emma the question, but if you guys want to jump in, feel free. So Emma, ideally, what is the amount of miles on a bike when you should consider it might start having problems because of that mileage? What is a number that you should maybe reconsider that bike? Like,
you want me to throw out a number?
Yeah, just is 50. Like at 50, you start going,
It's going to be a lot lower than you think.
Oh, what's it going to be?
20.
Ooh,
Yeah, 20.
really?
So anything
Especially
over
on
20,000, start negotiating.
Anything over 20,000, you'd better start scrutinizing the maintenance log, because there are very few bikes on the road that will not need a valve clearance doing well before 20.
Okay.
And on a single cylinder bike, big deal. On the Cockroach KLR 650.
It's killer, not cockroach.
Yeah. Sorry. Doing the valve clearance on that bike's easy. Even though it's bucket and shim, pull the cams out, do shims, put them back in. It's cheap as chips. But on a 4-cylinder bike, especially a V4 cylinder bike, doing the valve clearances, it's like $1,000 just for the valve clearances. And so people, put it off. Bike's still running great, doesn't make noise. Well, of course it doesn't make noise, because the valves are receding in their head. The clearances are getting too small, then you burn out a valve. So 20,000 miles to me, it's not a cutoff, but then that's when you need to start looking at maintenance.
Or maybe use that as a negotiation.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So now let's talk about years. What's the amount of years that you start going, maybe you should reconsider?
Oh, I don't think that's as academic as
15? Like when do you start having things go bad? 15 years?
10
They
years?
can, yeah. I'd say 15 is a good way to look at it.
I mean, that's how I feel. Anything within 15 years is probably in the
I mean, at what point does parts availability come into play for some of the more exotic?
It depends on
bikes?
how popular.
Yeah, generally the Japanese manufacturers are quite good about parts. Before we start thinking they're being touchy-feely about it, I mean, it's big business. Japanese manufacturers, the parts department are very, very profitable. So they make parts for pretty much within reason for everything. I might even push that back to 20 years. You know, bikes have gotten a lot better. Yeah. I mean, 20 years, that puts us back to 2001. There's still a lot of modern bikes you could buy in 2001. So
for me, my number, like if the bike is within 10 years old, to me, that's still a new bike.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And like when you're starting to get to 15, it's starting to get a little aged, and 20, it's only 5 years to being a collector bike, an antique. I mean,
Right,
antiques
and
are
that's true.
25 years. That's what's crazy. Well, cool. Anyone got any other last things to add to that, or did we wrap that up? So the funny thing is, when Amber started this whole thing and asked that question, I said, before we answer, do you really want to know the answer? Because it's not that simple.
Yeah, it isn't.
So I have some more announcements. Chikistan, my trip to Pakistan, it's filling up. September 6th through 19th, taking a group of women to Pakistan. And I just found out from somebody today that their wife is very interested in maybe coming on that, signing up soon. But it's filling up. I'm really excited. And Bagel, check this out. Moyne, because I told him that I wanted to know more about history and stuff over there, because on a lot of his trips, it was just about the ride, like getting to and from. So he's hired a history guy to be our a tour guide with us.
Oh, wow.
And it's
That's
going to
awesome.
have more of an emphasis on history and education about where we're visiting, what we're seeing.
Very
Oh,
cool.
that's super cool.
I like
Yeah, I know. Well, this is one thing I love about Moyne is that you just tell him what you want the trip to be and he will
that.
make it happen. But it's
Yeah.
because on my last trip, like everyone was like getting their morning coffee and I just hopped on my bike and went for a little ride when we were in Hunza.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw this, Bagel, but just down the road when you cross the river, go down the road, I found petroglyphs from the Silk Road that
Oh,
were like, I don't know, like it was Genghis Khan and like they go way back, right?
Holy cow.
And I'm like, what? And there was like a, plaque that's in English that
Mhm.
said what this was. I'm like, what? Like no one else is getting to see this.
Mhm.
They were all having their coffee. And I'm like, this is really cool. So yeah, if you're interested in coming on the trip, it is go to adifferentagenda.com and you can sign up there. I have some other big news, and this is kind of big. And I have to admit, I don't know how to
Love him.
commemorate this other than just acknowledging it and also using this as a way to say thank you to everyone. By everyone, I mean to all of the Misfits, past and present, and to all of the listeners, because this week, at some point this week, y'all listening to this recording, we will have hit 2 million listens.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right?
cow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's a lot of listening.
I
That's
know.
pretty awesome.
Well, the thing that's crazy is our shows are like 2 hours. That's like 4 million hours that we have
Yeah.
wasted on humanity.
Yeah.
Like people could have
Just
cured cancer with that
we're
much
just
time.
sucking their lives away with our drivel.
We're a gift to humanity. We're a gift.
So big thanks to everyone who's been a part of it. I'm just so proud of that accomplishment. I had another weird story. Emma, I told you about this.
Oh, excuse me.
Why? I
I tried to
my head just
mute.
blew up.
Yeah, yes, darling.
I was going to share a story. I had a weird
Dream.
situation. Look, I know that.
What was that like? Jersey Shore. Hey,
The Sitch.
situation or whatever. Ah! Yeah, thank you.
No. Look, I know that we've been in lockdown
Yes.
for over a year now.
Yes.
Some places more than others. California
Yes.
more than, say, Florida. I'm not even getting
Right.
into politics or anything right now. Just to say that on the one hand, I feel like things are starting to lighten up. I've had my vaccine. I know that, we're still wearing masks in the garage, but, like I spent the day with John yesterday.
Right.
And we didn't wear masks because we were both vaccinated. We started to feel like things are coming back. Are you guys kind of feeling that too? Like we're not letting down our guard, but it's starting to loosen up a bit. Well, in this time where things are loosening up and restrictions, like we can go eat in restaurants now. They're still limited capacity, but things are opening up. So I was quite surprised when the other week I decided to stop at a motorcycle dealer in a nearby town. And I'm blaming John for this one because this is before he bought his XT225 and he was looking for a smaller bike. And I had thrown out the crazy idea of considering some of these Chinese brands. Because they're not all bad. Just like the Benelli that we saw today actually looked pretty cool, Emma. I was impressed with it.
Do you know how much that was? $6,000 out the door.
$6,000 for a adventure bike. But there's a brand, is SRS? I think it's SRS, right? Yeah.
SSR.
SSR, yes, thank you. SSR. And I know that they have some smaller displacement dirt bikes, and if you're buying something new that for a couple grand, well, it's better than buying something that's old, like we were just talking about, for the same amount, because dirt bikes are going for a lot of money now.
Yeah.
You know? And so I stopped at the shop because I know.
Do you know what SSR stands for?
Oh no, we didn't cover this one. What's it stand for?
It stands for Simon Silky Rope. Just thought I'd share that with you.
Really?
Yes, really.
Is that what he calls it?
Yes. Because Simon's rope is quite silky. It's in the owner's manual, page 3.
So I went up to the front door and it was locked, but I could see people inside, and there was a sign on the door that said, please call for an appointment. I was like, okay, but there's people in there. So I called the number. I said, hi, I'm standing at the front door. Can I come in and look at bikes? And they're like, please hold. Another guy comes on the phone. Hi, how can I help you? Yeah, I'm standing at the front door. Can I please come in? And he said, well, what are you looking for? Well, I'm looking for a dirt bike. And I know you have some. Well, yeah, we sold a lot during COVID, but we still have some. Is there a certain model or that you're looking for? I said, well, can I just come in and look? I'm actually looking for a friend. He's kind of got short legs, so I'm looking for a low bike. Oh, okay. Tell me about your friend. What kind of bike is he looking for? How tall is he? I'm like, well, I'm actually coming to look for him. So can I just come in? He goes, well, are you familiar with bikes? Do you know much about bikes? Yes, I do. Can I just come in and look at him? Well, I have to make an appointment for you. First off, tell me your friend's name and what's his phone number. Do you have that on you? And I'm in the hot sun, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, can I come in or not? And he said, well, I have to check and see if we have an appointment available. I'm like, look, I'm standing at the door right now. I just want to know, can I come in right now or not? It's that simple. Oh, well, I'd have to go check the book and see. And I said, you know what? Thank you for your time. Click. I was like, what is going on?
That is quite odd.
Oh, Bagel, you have a guess?
Well, I want to say that sounds very much like the opposite side of the story that I've heard Phil tell on Cleveland Moto about how he's running his shop, because he's running his shop by appointment only because of COVID, and to make sure that there's only a certain number of people in the shop at any given time. Now I agree that the guy who talked on the phone really was very evasive and should have answered your question directly.
Yeah, that was a weird part.
And if he needed to find a time slot when you could come in the shop, because there are people in there now, and they're scheduled from 2 to 2:30, and you can come in from 2:30 to 3, if that's open, then he should just tell you that. I don't know why he was being so evasive and like not.
Well, and that's the thing. And it's a pretty good sized showroom. It's very easy to stay 20 feet away from people at all times.
Well, yes, but it's not just about the distance. It's about the air circulation, and who knows what kind of air system they have in there. Yeah. And it may not be.
Well, but here's the thing.
Air in the place.
Again, a lot of the restrictions have been lifted. It's not a state or county mandate there.
Right. But it's
not weird, but
Emma hasn't. Right. But it's not about what the county or anybody else says, because as far as I'm concerned, the state and local governments are pushing to reopen because businesses are breathing down their necks. Yeah. What I think is more important is to make sure that people are safe. And right now, with like 25% of the population at most vaccinated, I don't think it's the time to be just opening the floodgates and letting people in, because I mean, if they want to check and see if you've got, your vaccine, maybe that's a different story.
It was weird.
People don't want to check about that, because then people who haven't gotten vaccinated get, treated shitty and stuff. And we don't want to go down that road. So honestly, I think it's fine to continue being cautious and be limited in how many people you can interact with in a given time for the foreseeable future, until we have 60, 70, 80% immunization rates.
Yeah, but we know that Phil at Cleveland Moto will just cut to the chase. Like, sorry, dude, I don't have an appointment right now. That's the thing that was weird. He was trying to collect information from me, and when he asked me for John's name and phone number.
Yeah.
So Emma had a different theory, which is kind of weird.
It's not weird. I've got some history with this gentleman.
Oh.
And his MO is collecting as much information on clients and prospective clients as possible, and almost like keeping a database on it. And it's become something of an obsession. Whenever you become obsessed over anything, it's never a healthy place to be mentally. And I'm not suggesting he's dribbling down his shirt or anything like that, but he's getting to the stage now where his priorities are a little wonky. He needs to spend a little less time on collecting information about people and a little more time on giving customer service. So there you go.
Yeah, if that's the case, it sounds like he's more interested in marketing than helping customers.
Well, it's neither. It's not actually a marketing thing.
Really?
And it's not something that I feel I should be talking about on the podcast, because ultimately we are a motorcycle podcast, and not a political or religious podcast.
It might be something nefarious. That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Well, it was weird.
It's not an illegal thing. I mean, ultimately, you could argue he's trying to serve somebody very, very well, and in his mind, he's doing it for the greater good.
I think he's an Amway salesman. That's what I think.
Yeah, there you go. And can I interest you in this diamond coat car wax?
And then before we wrap up, one last thing, just another kind of announcement, but also what we did this weekend. Mikey 3 times and John and I went down to Jocelyn Snow's garage yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to ask how Jocelyn is.
Very good. And we went down and filmed a new episode of the Garagenous Zone. If you don't know what that is, it is another series that I started on our YouTube channel, Recycle Santa Cruz. This is just the second episode, but it's basically showing off really cool garages where people have done really cool things and found good ideas to come up with different storage or aesthetics. And John, wouldn't you say that her garage is equal parts aesthetics and function?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she has got such an amazing eye for aesthetics. Everything has its place, and just the ambiance of the garage, the bar and everything hanging up, and it's just such a great spot to be in. But it's a functional garage. It's still a working garage, which makes it even cooler.
But she does little stuff just to give you an idea. A lot of people have a garage door opener, and you have that weird like genie or something, just looks like a spaceship hanging in this. She put like an old apple crate up on it, so you're just looking at an old antique crate.
I thought genies were blue and talked like Robin Williams.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, different kind of genie.
Exactly. But she did it on a budget, and she found some barnwood out and back and cut it up and lined one of the walls, with barnwood. And corrugated metal is a great way. Actually, one of the things I really liked, she had, like many people do, like almost what you can see, like you look at Bagel, he's got those shelving back there. She had old built-in cabinets in the garage that were good, solid wood, but you get those old like 40s cabinets. They're not pretty, right?
Liza, I've told you before about being rude to people, and describing Bagel's hairstyle like that is deeply troubling. Your hairstyle doesn't look like shelving, Bagel.
Well, thank you, Emma.
Well, actually, it does, but I wouldn't say it out loud, darling.
But what she did was she made. She used some rail that she hung on she put like a countertop on top that extends past them, and she put some rail and has sliding doors in front of these old cabinets covered with barnwood.
Oh, so fantastic.
It looks very nice, but then you can slide it aside and you have these old cabinets just shoved full of paint cans and stuff like that. And so just an amazing eye. So I'm going to be working on that the next few weeks and editing the Garagenous Zone. But it was a real treat to be out there with her and with somebody who really has that great eye. And
she's got that crazy BMW dirt bike that I've never seen before.
Yeah, she's got a 450 dirt bike that they only made for 2 years.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
wow.
It was really cool.
At some stage, Liza, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, most especially you, but I would like to do an Emma and Liza stories from the Talbot Museum very soon.
Yeah, we need to pick a date to do that and go do another?
Yeah, and we'll talk with Rob, who's an absolute dear and has been very, very generous with his time and wallet at Mototown.
I have an
and
idea.
Oh,
Yes,
Could you call it Tales from the Talbot?
we could call it Tales from the Talbot. But I think that'd be a nice show, and we can do a little bit of one-on-one, just you and me, Liza, and Rob as well, and just, do Rob's personal favorites, because he's such an interesting guy. And he has got quite a few favorites in there that are deeply personal. So I think that would be a really, really good show. Kind of get beyond the trinkets and the museum pieces and actually get down to what's dear to him personally.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work. I showed John, I've got like the first 20 seconds of this video kind of set, and that took me about 4 hours.
Right.
So it's very time consuming, but I love it. John, should we even talk about our idea for the next one?
The one we've been discussing?
Yeah. So we
Sure.
have a new series John and I are talking about, but I'm passing the torch to him for production. He gets to do all the production end. I think you guys will like this one. Tell me what you think.
Yeah. So we're thinking about doing gas tank tacos,
Gas tank tacos.
but highlighting different taquerias around wherever, and also tying in, rides to the taquerias, and then also talking about, the restaurant itself too, and sort of bringing in some of the heroic stories about restaurateurs.
Yeah, basically, like, let's say Doug was our guest. So we have a guest. Like, I'm like, hey, Doug, we're going to film an episode of Gas Tank Tacos. Let's go ride to the taqueria down the street. But first, let's go ride on West Cliff. Have a nice ride. We'll go to the taqueria, get some tacos, try them out. I always ask them, what's your best, taco that you have? And then I want you to tell me about the bike that you're riding and why you love that bike.
Yep.
So it's kind of
And we
like
can
cars and coffee, but
Yeah, kind of like Cars and
Gas
Coffee,
tank-
but it's
gas
Gas Tank
tank
Tacos.
I like it.
Nice.
Eat to ride, ride to eat.
Live to ride,
That's
ride
right.
to eat. Stick with that motto. Exactly. Well, you guys, I've gone down my list. Do you guys have anything you need to bring up or mention before we wrap up?
Mark Marquez is back this weekend, so I haven't seen the races yet, so I don't even have
He's been out a while.
It's last year, yeah. So he just finally came back. So we'll see what happens and see if Rossi can try to figure out what's wrong. He's just been having a horrible year, and I think he's one podium away from the record. So I haven't seen it yet, like I said, and then I'm always cheering for Joe Roberts. He had a really good qualifying. He's the American rider in Moto2. And so hopefully he did well too. So we'll update you more on that maybe next week. So you guys can all watch it. And
Just curious, is Joe of the clan Roberts?
no, he's not. He's from LA.
Okay.
I thought that too, but no.
Yeah.
And I love Cambobier,
Cambobier.
so I'm cheering on Cambobier. So I keep pimping him. Let's cheer him on and see him move up into the MotoGP.
Very good.
Go ahead,
Can
Emma.
I give a brief Mototown update?
Yes.
Good. Well, I was very excited because the garage is coming along very, very well. And I mean, it's pretty habitable right now. We're shooting for a opening date the first week in May. So basically, when we come back from the one show, I need to get to work and actually start fixing some damn bikes. However, this was a big week because I got into the restroom. I'm very, very excited.
That's a big deal.
I'm very, very excited. It is a big deal because I've got my own restroom that's dedicated to me and my customers.
So Miss Emma is no
Because,
longer constipated. We're happy.
But there's
Right.
a but. There's a but.
Well, we're going
There's
to
a butt in the restroom usually.
Yeah.
So,
Not in this one for the last 20 years.
Mototown is on the site of an old abandoned gas station. And back in the days, there were obviously men's restrooms and women's restrooms. And the garage, the bay part of the garage, the workshop bays are occupied by a mechanic. And for his business, he obviously got the men's restroom. And so I inherited the women's restroom. The big problem is there was a padlock on the door that nobody knew the combination to. And it'd been on there for 20 years. Nobody had been in this restroom for 20 years. So finally, I said to the landlord, I said, look, we need to do something about this. Do you have any objection if I cut the padlock off? And he said, no, go ahead, because he said, I know you'll put a new lock on it. So I cut the padlock off, and I went into a restroom that nobody had been in for 20 years. And, well,
tell me the last person flushed the toilet, right? Please.
Well, when occasionally you use the restroom and you say to the next person, I just give it a while before you go in there. I think that's actually what happened. I think somebody said, I wouldn't go in there for a while if I were you. And the person said, well, how long do you think it should be? Oh, 20 years should do it. And so I got in there, and I think actually probably another 10 years would have been better for me. However, I went in there and walked straight out again very quickly and got my pressure washer and some extremely strong bleach, and went in with the pressure washer and a mask on, and got everything spick and span. So, clean restroom. It's a disgusting shade of green, so I'm going to paint it white this week. And I'm just going to put little motorbike trinkets in it, little motorbike trinkets.
Nice.
I've got this light with pull cord on it. And I meant to ask you this week, Liza, if you have a little die-cast motorbike that I can have on a chain so you can turn the light on by pulling a little motorbike.
No.
Do you have any die-cast motorbikes, Liza?
No, you cannot have any of my motorcycles. They're mine, all mine.
I'm sure we can find one somewhere.
Yeah,
but Emma, I do have something for you.
Yes.
I still have a bunch of old license plates we've never put up that I thought would look good.
Yeah, brilliant. I've already got some license plates around the top, so we'll put some license plates up around the top. And very exciting news for me. I met one of the elders from the Esselen tribe, the Native American tribe. And the Esselen, like the Ohlone, were very nomadic, and they kind of switched. They'd move up and down the coast, but basically the Esselen were no strangers to Marina. And she's going to come in and actually perform a very traditional Esselen ceremony in there. And leave me a trinket. Just make me at peace with the Native American land that I'm on.
Does it involve pissing in an air box?
Yes. Yes. And giving me $300 because she's doing me a favor. But no, it's she's going to do a very traditional Esselen ceremony and just kind of make me okay with the Native American land I'm on. And I'm very excited about that. And then we're going to fix some damn motorbikes. That's what we're going to do. And it's going to be brilliant, really. And I might fix one or two scooters as well. What do you have to say about that, Bagel?
I like the sound of that.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to have some fun with it. I think
nice.
It's I'm regarding it as much as an art installation as a motorbike shop. So
well, I might be able to send some people your way.
Good-o!
Emma?
Yes.
Next time I come down there, I would love to perform a ritual in the bathroom.
I bet you would. I bet you would. And
I bet
don't
Jim
go
would
in there
too.
for a while afterwards.
20 years would be right.
Yeah, I was going to say probably another 10 will do it just fine. No, it's okay because I got my pressure washer and the bleach now. I had to buy it specially. Listen, let me tell you how bad this bathroom was. The bathroom was bad enough that I quietly closed the door and traumatized. I drove down to Home Depot and bought a $300 pressure washer silently. Drove back, still in a state of trauma, sat down, read the owner's manual, bought the biggest tub of strong bleach I could, and only then could I speak. That's how bad the bathroom was.
And what did you say when you finally spoke?
I breathed the clean air. It was fantastic.
The bleach, it smelled so good.
Thank Christ. That smells Pine-Sol fresh.
Oh my.
But no, I'm excited. I got my own damn bathroom. And I got some giant Mototown stickers for the El Camino. And we've got one on each door and one on the tailgate. And I was so excited, I ordered a fourth sticker, which I'm going to slap on the restroom door. So I'm going to have one of these keys that's on this giant wooden thing, so you can't take
Attach
it
it to
home.
a tire
Yeah, exactly. You drag the tire over there. I said, well, the restroom's around the corner. And they said, which one is it? I said, well, you won't need to know because you'll see. There'll be a giant Motortown sticker on the door. It's very exciting,
Oh, shoot. I forgot. We had a couple emails.
Yeah. And I'm going to buy soft toilet paper and everything. I'm not going to do the hard medicated stuff. I'm going to do the nice.
Fancy.
If somebody's traveling through Monterey and like nature calls, can they drop by and
Yeah, of course they can.
give you a present?
Listen, having dicked around with motorcycles for 45 years, the one thing I want when I make a stop is I want a hot drink and I want to go for a pee. So at Motortown, the coffee is always free. And if you want to come in and just use my restroom, feel free.
And perform a ritual.
And perform a very, very, very cheap. And don't go in there for a while if I were you.
And don't forget to spray.
Yeah, exactly.
A couple of emails real quick. This first one is from Jeff, and he says, greetings from Oregon.
Hello. Is it Bend in Jeff, Oregon, or Jeff in Bend, Oregon? Hello, Jeff.
He says, I'm not a financial supporter of the show, but I really do appreciate what you guys are doing and the cast of characters you've assembled. I can be rather socially inept most of the time, and listening to the podcast every week makes me feel like there's some people who actually care about one another, and that's a tribe I'd like to belong to. We are very good actors.
Well, give me some money then.
I'd like to try and give something to show my appreciation. So if you can send me your mailing address, I'd like to send some unused gear for the free stuff room at the garage.
Oh, Jeff.
Says, thanks again. Yours and Emma's belly laughs always bring a smile to my face.
Nice.
Aw. So, Jeff, update. I got a box today. I believe it was yours. So thank you very much. And actually, further update. I've never been able to say no to anyone who's offered to drop off gear, to ship gear. We have had, let's say I have a good problem. The problem is I have far more people donating stuff to the garage than I have people who need gear. And I have amassed a huge pile of gear in that room. By that room, it's a hallway. Let's just face it, it's a hallway. So I just want to let people know the answer is still yes. If you'd like to send your gear, your extra parts, your manuals, send them over. We will find a home for them. I am working on a solution. One of those solutions is I'm going to start reaching out to some of the local co-op garages in the area and to see if they will put them on their consignment rack. And then I want the proceeds to go to like First Rides or maybe some other nonprofits that could use the money. Because we could still sell cheap gear to people who need it, make it affordable, and give that money to some great.
Right. And I'm going to do a rack at Motortown.
Yep.
I mean, you've seen my spot. It is quite humble. It's 800 square feet. Now, that sounds like a great, huge amount. But believe me, when you've got 20 motorbikes in there and God knows what, it's tight. But part of my vision for Motortown is supporting things like First Ride, supporting Recycle Garage and everything like that. So I'm going to do a rack. It's going to be perfect for me because if somebody's just starting out, they're short of gear, they can come in. If they haven't got much bread, why don't you make a $10 donation for that jacket and you know the money's going somewhere good, like First Rides.
Yeah. So feel free to still send in your gear or drop it off. We appreciate it so much. We are finding a way to get it back out to the people who need it for an affordable price. And I'm still going to keep a little bit of everything here for the people who show up in garden gloves and flip-flops. Because, Lord, we've seen it. So last one. Okay, this one is from Brian.
Hello, Brian.
Says, hey, you randy bunch of motosexual miscreants. He sure does got us pegged.
He knows us.
I know. Says, first off, just want to let you all know how much I love the podcast. My commute is a little under an hour each way from San Jose down into the San Lorenzo Valley, and I love listening about motorcycles whilst giving mine the beans. I wish I could come down to the garage, but alas, I work until 4 every Sunday. So I've been syncing the throttle bodies on my XSR 900 the last 3 or 4 intervals, and I've been doing it without the airbox on so I could get to the adjuster screws.
Yeah, that's okay.
To my horror, closer reading of the service manual seems to indicate I should be doing it with the airbox fitted. I've been careful to make sure there's no crud lying about to get sucked in, but I now wonder if I have done damage. What's the correct way to go about syncing my throttle bodies? Thanks for doing the podcast and fighting the good fight, Brian.
Okay, so syncing the throttle bodies, basically what you're doing, when you're syncing the throttle bodies, you're actually doing a bypass. You're bypassing them. There's actually a bypass circuit. And believe me, an XSR 900 will tell you if the throttle bodies are way out, because it'll clunk, 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 clunk at idle. It's only got 3 cylinders, you see. And they, funny enough, you know, it's funny how some bikes are quite heavy on things. You know, I've always found Gixxers to be very heavy on plugs. They like their spark plugs. And for some reason, those Yamaha triples are heavy on carb syncing. They knock their carbs out of sync quite often. What difference does it make if the airbox is off? Truthfully, very little, because you have to mitigate your circumstances. If you want to do it to the letter, yes, the airbox has to be on. But it's going to be so awkward to do it with the airbox on. The chances are that after you've been at it for 2 hours and you still haven't quite got it right, you're going to say, oh, screw this, it'll be good enough. So personally, I think he's doing it the right way. Pull the airbox off, make it easy on yourself, get to the adjuster screws, make sure they're even. And with the airbox on, as long as it's not chunking at idle, you're fine. If you're worried about sucking in air with the airbox off, don't. Trust me, it'll be just ducky. I wouldn't do it in the sandstorm, but in San Jose, if you've just got the airbox off for 10 minutes while you're syncing the carbs, there's nothing you can do to hurt that engine. It's a very, very tough, robust engine. I used to work on one that for a, he was actually a fighter pilot in the Israeli Air Force, and he was at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, and he'd brought this thing over from Israel with him, and it wasn't the XSR, but it was one with the same engine. I think it was the FJ09, and it got like 168,000 kilometers on it, so it was well over 100,000 miles. Still ran like an absolute top. So they're tough engines. So don't worry about it. If you've got the technique down with the airbox off, that's the technique. You know, somebody wise once told me, because I'm always on a crusade to lose weight, what is the best exercise you can, you know, what's the best exercise for you?
Doing the valves on a Gixxer?
No.
Oh.
Power spring in the bathroom?
The one you do. It's the one you actually do. And it's very, very wise words. The one that you actually do is the best exercise for you. And the same goes with motorcycle maintenance. Yes, there is a correct way to do it. But if that correct way is so convoluted and awkward without the genuine Yamaha tools or the genuine Honda tools or the genuine Suzuki tools, and you've come up with a technique that makes it easy, trust me, that's the good technique to use. And pulling off an airbox to sync your car bodies and putting the airbox back on, oh, believe me, that's nothing. The flow characteristics might be a tiny bit different with the airbox on, but not enough to knock the sync out. So don't worry about it.
Cool. All right, I got time for one more.
Oh, good-o.
And this one says, hey, I love the podcast. I especially love it when Stumpy John is on. I know he's just a stunt misfit, but I'd really like to see him become a regular misfit and be on every time.
Did my mom write in?
Liza. That's me.
Stumpy John.
John,
What?
you did a stunt misfit when we needed you. And I wanted to extend the invitation. John, would you like to be a regular Misfit?
Oh, I am beyond honored. But Bagel has to approve.
Because I'm already said no.
Because Emma said no. And Doug, you're the tiebreaker. So, we can be best friends.
Did you happen to go buy that CM 230?
Nope.
Ooh, that's a nice sit down.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, you know,
I'm joking, man. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, brother.
and the reason I said no, John, is because I kind of knew what was coming tonight, so I thought I'd keep you on tenterhooks. But yeah, welcome to the Misfits.
Oh, what an honor.
Bagel,
You guys are
so
awesome.
say you.
Yes,
So, Bagel.
Agreed.
Yay.
So I can stay on your couch now, Bagel, anytime I'm in Portland. Is that okay?
Well, I'm not in Portland, but
Can I poop in your Can I poop in your bathroom?
Can you perform a ritual?
yes, I do.
In your-
I wouldn't go in there for a while afterwards, though.
We have fans.
Unless you bring your own pressure washer.
So,
I hope it's not going to be that big of a mess.
so yeah, so next week is going to be a normal Misfit evening, if there is such a thing. But the following week, we will be doing the show from Bagel's Garage.
All
Why
right.
not?
No. Well,
Well,
I won't be.
Some of us will.
No, you won't be, but me and Mike McCarthy and John will be.
I'm Dalton.
Which actually brings me up. Hey, John, now that you're an official Misfit.
Yeah. Oh.
Actually, well, and Douglas, would either of you be interested in running the garage in 2 weeks when we are all up in Oregon?
Yeah, I
I'll
can
do it
do
if
it.
Douglas does it. Yeah.
Yay! I figured
Yay.
Charlie usually shows up for the whole haul too, so I could rely on the three of you, and that'd be great because
Got it.
we'll have people like Amber there who's just going to need a little more help and kind of keeping an eye on
And
her.
this is 2 weeks from now.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'll remind you.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much. So congratulations, John. Thank you for joining
Oh,
us.
thank you.
You've been reliable and also fun to ride with and hang out with.
An honor.
So I think that gets us to the end. Big thanks to all of our listeners. Don't forget to go to motorcyclesandmisfits.com. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, Recycle Santa Cruz. And since I'm plugging us, I have to plug our friends over at Cleveland Moto because Sleepy is killing it with
Yes, he
all
is.
the series he's doing with Unky Phil. I don't know if you guys have seen him. It's
Oh yeah, they're great.
Who?
Cleveland Moto.
Who?
Oh, Jesus.
Who are those guys?
Those
Orange
wankas.
County Choppers. That's what I'm talking about.
And
Yeah.
Liza, do we have more room for
Bunch of
Patreon
fucking
subscribers to join us?
dumbasses.
For page, yeah, you
Can
can.
we take more Patreon subscribers? Do
You
we
can
need more?
always take on more Patreon subscribers. I don't know if we have any more slots. I'd have to see. We have a limit on how many Ask Miss Emmas. I'll see, but she's let me expand it. But it's not too late to become a Patreon subscriber and get some of the free swag.
And you know,
Like,
I mean,
My cool do rag.
here's here's an incentive. Let's put another spot out there. Let's put at least one more spot out there.
Well, Emma,
So-
we need to kick some of the money back to you to get better Wi-Fi because I don't know if you know, you sound drunk a lot of the time.
Because I am.
It's all the gin, darling.
Sounds like a drunk,
That's
drunk
what it sounds
robot.
like.
Yeah.
Totally gin, darling.
Gin soaks Emma, darling. No, I mean, if you think I sound drunk, you should try spending an evening in my body, darling. It's no joke. But yeah, let's open one more Ask Miss Emma spot.
I'll check and
we're not
see.
going to say for who. But yeah, check and see if we can open it up. It's okay with me for another one.
We'll
And there's
see.
a bit of an incentive. And if you haven't had me make fun of your choices with maintenance or choosing a bike, you ain't lived. Because I will judge you. I will judge you as my cat judges me. Funnily enough, when I'm sitting on the toilet. It's been a very toilet-centric episode
Yes,
this
it
week,
has.
hasn't it?
Well, you can't go wrong with potty humor. I mean, come on.
True.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the best.
I know, right?
It is.
So, and lastly, thanks to everyone who emails in. Keep those emails coming. I'd like to hear maybe some of your suggestions for these bike names. If you have a better idea for some of these, Also, we haven't done this for a while, but let's put a call out again for shop shout outs. I really love it when people send us in their local shops that they want to sing some praise to, because there's not enough of that happening for local shops.
Have you heard about that shop in Marina called Moto Town? It's the best.
I have
They-
heard of it.
Only play the Supremes.
That's right.
Yes,
Yeah, it's got the Barry Gordy playlist.
exactly. That will be fun. So, finishing up, thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. I think we're ready to get out of here. This is Eliza.
Bagel.
Douglas.
Emma Darling.
Dumpy John.
And we're out of here.
Cool.
Cool.
Oh, we did that right. How
We
about
did.
that?
Oh my
Actually.
gosh.